start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could remain standing and remember, as we always do, our men and women in the armed forces that are stationed all around the world. Locally, we should take a moment and pause for Mrs. Dilbury, Alice Perry. I'd like us to include the hurricane victims and the shooting victims in Odessa, Texas. And last but certainly not least among our Senator Bill Larkin. Thank you. Is the voice okay, Sean? Okay, so let me take a moment, not long, about Bill Larkin. Because things need to be said. And things aren't being said. He was a great public servant. He honored his family, his community, starting out, I think, in New Windsor. Went on to become our state senator. He served his country. He did it all. He did it all. Special guy. Someone said to me today, why don't you make a list of all the grants that you, the Village of Highland Falls, received? That's not something that I could do because I'd have to go way back, and it was just, it adds up to be millions. I'm not making that number up, we're talking millions. But to put a little, I don't know, print, let's just take recently. When you drive down Main Street, right out here, the north end, Sacred Heart North, what the construction that you see going on is being funded by a grant from Bill Larkin. So you can put his name right on the project that's being done now. When you see the Town of Highlands sanitation truck, Bill Larkin purchased that for the town, close to $200,000. So there's two projects that his prints are on right now. I can think of the North End. Some of you will remember when the North End was flooded. We took on 3 floods, the North End. Clytes, South, Fort Putt, Lake, Church. Bill, our senator, gave us $500,000 to put towards fixing the North End. And it goes on. I mean, it goes on and on. That's why I could never do a list. I remember going to a press conference in Peekskill. Governor Pataki was there, Senator Larkin was there, and we received $200,000 for Main Street. That was back. Now we're working on the second 200. I remember going to a press conference with the governor, Senator Larkin, and we were given hundreds of thousands of dollars to put towards Roe Park. I mean, you know, that's a great public servant. He saw a need and he responded. He didn't give us money. I can only talk about us. He did not give us money just for the sake of giving us money. These were all the things that I just mentioned needed to be done. We needed to improve Roe Park. We certainly needed to put drainage at the north end. We certainly need to do Main Street. We certainly needed a new garbage truck, sanitation truck, otherwise the local taxpayers would be footing that bill. I won't even get into, because I can't with total knowledge, of the 2 fire departments and the ambulance corps. I mean, he just kept giving and giving and giving. If it was needed, he gave. If it wasn't, he didn't. Every public servant should be that way. Okay, but this would be a time to reflect. Jim, I know that you knew the senator well. I know you knew him very well. If you want to, now would be a nice time to say something, if you want. And then if anyone doesn't, it's fine. Okay, thank you.
I'll just be brief. Anybody that ever had to go to Senator Larkin for anything, actually, it was funny, it was brought up this morning. If you had an issue, whatever it was, you'd go to his office up on Little Britain Road, and you were welcomed by his staff, which were always very helpful. And you'd sit in his office, you'd talk about the issue, and then right away, he would pick the phone up, or actually, he would put it on speaker, dial the department in the state, and talk to whoever needed to talk to, and it was worked out on the phone with you while you were sitting in the office. It wasn't, I'll get back to you, it wasn't, the legislation's coming from Albany, it wasn't, you know, it was just handled. Now, I don't know what magic wand he had or what pull he had, but I remember being young, getting involved, and it was I think it was my second year I was on the town board, and I don't even remember what the issue was, but for a 22-year-old being in his office, it was awe-inspiring, and it was one of the things that made me fall in love with public service. So he will never be forgotten. I'll always remember him, and he's done a lot for this community, as it was talked about.
Thanks.
I just want to say just real quick, when I was on the town board, I know that Senator Larkin, he was really tremendous in helping out. He was very concerned with this community, both the village and the town. He wanted to make sure that if we needed something, he would really try to get out there and get it for us. Many projects that we were on with the town, he was always there. He always had a concern. And one thing also about Senator Larkin, he had a strong voice for the military. For veterans and everything, he had a very strong voice, and he wanted to make sure that everything was right for them. That was one great thing about the senator.
He certainly set a high bar for everyone in public service. He also set a high bar for those entering public service. He was truly a servant, a public servant who really cared about those he represented.
I would like to acknowledge Town Councilman Richard Sullivan is in the audience. Thank you. And I will have public comment on agenda or not agenda items. First on the agenda is to approve minutes. We had a regular meeting on the 5th of August 2019, and we had a regular meeting on the 19th of August 2019. May I have approval for those minutes?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Livesey, second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we do what we normally do at our meetings. We have public maintenance hearings on the following properties. And I'd like to open this public hearing up at the time so designated. Property maintenance hearing on 41 Main Street, which is the empty lot at the other end of Main Street next to Ward and Hicks. Excuse me, I'm wrong. 41 Main Street, then there's then the empty lot, 11 Church Street, 96 Burns Avenue, and 72 Mountain Avenue. Section, lot, and block are all there. Is there anyone here, the owner or representing those properties? Let the record show there isn't. whereas a long-standing violation of the Village Property Maintenance Law, Chapter 170 of the Village of Highland Falls has existed in each property listed above, designated with a tax map number. Also noted, whereas the property owner or owners have been given due notice of said violations and have been directed to correct these violations, and whereas the property owner or owners were given due notice of a public hearing to be held by the Board of Trustees on September 3 at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order the corrective action be undertaken by the village to correct the said violations at the property owner's cost and expense, to bill the cost and expense to the property owner, and to levy same against the property. And whereas the public hearing was duly held by the Board of Trustees on September 3, 2019, and whereas the owner or owners did not appear, and whereas the owner or owners have not taken steps to correct the violations, and the violations still exist, and whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-2 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize that the village undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the village, its contractors, or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the violations, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days of notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second by trustee DeSalvo? May I have roll call?
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Aye.
Mayor D'Onofrio?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, as you know, we have put someone in place a few months ago at the water plant, and he needs to go on to receive some classes and education in the water plant. So the Chief Water Plant Operator, Jack Sibley, is requests that Ryan Gresback be authorized to attend a 2-day Grade D distribution class at SUNY Morrisville in Morrisville, New York. The class is on October 22 and October 23. The cost is $325 and $180 for 2 nights of boarding. A Grade D license is necessary in the repair of water mains and services in our distribution system. Thank you for your consideration.
Motion.
Motion by trustee DeSalvo, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This next item goes back a ways. This is a grant that was put in a few years ago for $3.4 million. And it's to, well, I'll read what it's for. And to keep, it didn't muster, and another round it didn't muster, but Todd, our engineer, is looking at it, seeing if he can increase it, make it stronger, and this is looking to continue to put in for it. The water lines down in that area, Ondiora Parkside Grove, are old, especially in Ondiora, and they need to be brought up. The infrastructure needs to definitely be improved. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Highland Falls proposes to construct improvements to the village water system, including the replacement of water distribution lines in Ondiora Park and Sadler Grove, the replacement of backwash pumps, house pumps, storage tank, automatic control, and chemical feeds at the water plant. So it's for distribution lines and for some items at the water plant. Be it resolved that the village engineer is authorized to update a New York State water infrastructure grant. And the grant application is submitted to the New York State Department of Health and New York State Environmental Facilities Corp. Be it further resolved that the mayor, Joseph E. D'Onofrio, is authorized to sign all documents in accordance with the grant requirements, including but not limited to the WBE, the MBE, the EEO, Buy American, Ironworks, Davis-Bacon Act, etc. May I have a motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Livesey, second by trustee DeSalvo. May I have roll call?
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Aye.
Mayor D'Onofrio?
Aye. And I just want to say that there's one thing that can be said for sure. There's actually more than one thing that can be said, but let's just talk about one thing, just a brief comment. This board takes care of infrastructure. Maybe you don't see it, and it's a lot of money. Infrastructure is a lot of money, and believe me, I don't like spending the money if we don't have to, but when you talk about the infrastructure that we've taken care of, and we are taking care of, and we're going to take care of, it has to be. It has to be. And I can show anyone that. The reason we're doing it, the reason we're replacing it, the reason we're looking for grants. The infrastructure is something that this board, it's paramount to this board. And I want to say to the board that I thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, or may I see your agenda? This might be a little deviation from your agenda, but what I would like now is a motion to sign the union contract, the association contract, the SA, the Supervisors Association, the SA, Supervisors Association contract. And in hopes that a motion will be made, seconded, and passed, I do want to thank Trustee DeSalvo for working on this. These negotiations don't come easy. They're in depth, not to be taken lightly. There's give and take. There's good faith. And again, I want to thank you for us having this finally tonight in front of us. The SA membership has agreed. And I also want to make note that this contract will end May 31, 2023. And I also want to note that it's been 6 years with no contract. 7? And that's a long time, more than it should have taken. And when I got back into office, it was time to clean up. And this is one of the cleanup projects that this board has undertaken. And again, they're not easy. But I also want to say, I want to thank the SA membership because for 6 to 7 years with no contract, there is no retro. Now that saved the taxpayers a lot of money. Now that's just a brief comment, but it's an important comment. There'll be no retro. And I thank you again, Jim, and who you negotiated with, for coming up with this. That saved the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money. Make no mistake about it.
I just want to do a shout out to Village Clerk who helped type up the final version of the contract. So I appreciate that. I hate typing, so she was very nice enough to do it. I appreciate that.
So, I think it's appropriate for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, so let's, Trustee Livesey made a motion to accept the SA contract until May 31, 2023, which was negotiated. We have in front of us. It was seconded by Trustee DeSalvo. May I have roll call?
Trustee Alward?
Aye.
Trustee Livesey?
Aye.
Trustee DeSalvo?
Aye.
Mayor D'Onofrio?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so, so much. I'm sorry. It was in the add-on. So let's try to get back on. I'll try to get back on now. I would like to reschedule our next meeting, which is on Monday, September the 16th, to Tuesday, September the 17th. It's due to a conflict with the board members in that we have a local firefighter who's being given an award that I recommended, and we would like to attend. It's very important, and so that's the reason for the
So moved.
the date change. I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee DeSalvo, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much. Next is the appointment of Timothy Green as a full-time, his title as a full-time senior automotive mechanic. Senior automotive mechanic, full-time, $30 an hour, effective the 4th of September 2019, with an 8 to 26 week probation, as the motion should read. We can decide anytime between 8 and 26 weeks to take him off probation.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Howard, seconded by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And a great guy.
And a great, for many reasons.
And a great
Wish
guy.
I would have found this guy years
And a
ago.
great guy.
And for the public, he will be saving money because when we send our trucks out, it's $100 to $120 an hour to fix your trucks. So he's doing a great service for us. He can weld, he can do mechanical work. It's a good deal. I think so.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Next is the resignation of a full-time police officer, Frank A. Lillis, effective the 21st of August, 2019.
I'll make a motion with regret.
You have his letter there. Chief, I will. Chief, is there anything you want to add?
I think his letter will speak for itself. Great officer, he's fully dedicated, he regretted leaving. We wished him well in his new job and told him if there's ever anything that he needs from us, to give us a call.
Dear Chief Scott, it is with deep regret that I inform you of my official resignation. My last day serving as a police officer with the Village of Highland Falls Police Department will be August 21, 2019. It has been an honor to serve the department and the residents of Highland Falls for the past 2.5 years. At this time, I have accepted a position with Ramapo Police Department where I will continue to grow and further my career as a police officer. While the new job will bring many new challenges, I am grateful for the experience and training I received while working in Highland Falls, and I will carry that with me moving forward. I have had nothing but positive experiences working for the Highland Falls Police Department. I made new friendships with coworkers and truly enjoyed coming to work every day. I want to personally thank you, Chief, as well as Mayor D'Onofrio, for the opportunity I was given to start my career as a police officer in Highland Falls, where I grew up. I would also like to thank Sergeant Torpy and Detective Clevenall as senior members of the department for teaching me many things which helped me become a better police officer. While I will be working for a new department, I will always have ties to Highland Falls, and I wish to stay in touch with everyone. If there is anything needed of me over the next 2 weeks, please let me know. Sincerely, Frank Lewis. Very nice letter.
If I may say one thing, Mr. Mayor. You know, as all the other police officers, what a very hands-on police officer on medical calls too. Because again, they're the first responders really at the medical calls. And there's been a lot with the heat, but every time I've been on a call with him, he's always been there, hands-on. It was great. What do you miss?
So a motion to accept? Motion by trustee Livesey, second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
You had DeSalvo already motion with regret. Need a second.
All right.
Thank you for the correction.
Okay.
You have it? Am I
Do
done
you?
with this?
Do you have it?
I don't know if I have.
I have it.
Okay. Next, we have the appointment of Joshua Wendell, full-time dispatcher, step 1 of the full-time dispatcher's contract with a maximum of probation of 52 weeks. Anything, Chief, on that?
He's currently a part-time dispatcher with us. I think most of you are familiar with them. He'll be a great asset to our team.
So he's experienced, we don't have to teach.
Ready to go.
That's great.
He's bilingual and an EMT.
Bilingual and an EMT.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee
Second.
DeSalvo, second by trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the low bid and being recommended to us by the engineer for the drainage issue at Snyder Avenue project is $185,248. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Livesey, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Let's take roll call.
Trustee Alward,
Aye.
trustee Livesey,
Aye.
trustee DeSalvo,
Abstain.
Mayor Denofrio.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much. I have bills and claims for fiscal year 2019-2020 of $110,774.96.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Howard, second by trustee DeSalvo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before I ask for a motion to go into executive session, we'll go down the line maybe more quick than not. I had asked for a meeting on the assessments, lowering in particular of assessments. Dr. Sheboy held the meeting down at the superintendent's office. Dr. Sheboy was there, Mr. Colpo was there from the school board, Mr. DeSalvo was, could not make, I'm sorry. Jacobowitz and Gubitz was there representing the school, Justin Driver was there representing the town, I was there, Brian Howard was there, our attorney was there, Elise and Bob Livesey. We met for like an hour and a half. I think things were noted and that everyone did not know in the room, and we are going to continue having these meetings because our assessed value is going down, not up. And it's really kind of supposed to go the other way. I think, as always, you'd have to find another community like this one where assessments go down and not up. But it's a problem. And I'm going to talk at length about it at another time. I want to thank, and there's many more organizations, volunteers that need to be recognized, but tonight I'm going to start with just a few. I want to thank the United Methodist Church. For several years now, they give back to school. They have a back to school program, little book bags, pens, pads, all that is needed when kids go back to school. And I will tell you that I had several people, a few people, come into Village Hall on Saturday that thought maybe it was there. So I had to redirect them and get them to the right place. But it's needed. Mary Jane, how many families did you take care of?
Over 200.
Over 200.
And it's a full, everything the teacher wants them to have.
Over 200. Think about that. Mary Jane, again, I want to thank the church. Our church is here, our volunteers here, in many different organizations, church, school, civic. You can sit here and have a whole meeting just on that. I want to thank the 2 thrift shops that we have. People really look forward to those thrift shops. The food pantry, what more can I say about the food pantry than there's a need. There is a need for the food pantry. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. The library, when I turn on Channel 23, I try to look at Channel 23 once a week so I can see what's going on. That library has more going on for kids, little kids, Brian, you know this, young adults, older adults. Our library is active. I can't say enough about the library. So I thank the library. Jimmy likes when I go through these folders and I just keep going like this with him. He likes that. Oh, God. All right. The only thing I want to say is the drainage issue, off-site drainage project that we have going on with the Old Guard Hotel, which is to in the future be built up where the Puerto Rico Motel is, which is not allowed to start a shovel in the ground until the off-site drainage, which comes off the back, down on Murns Avenue, down Berry Hill, Row Avenue, to Fickett's Field, to go into the brook. Nothing can start until the off-site drainage is done, inspected by the village engineer, for which the village engineer has an inspector on site all the time to watch as they go before they can do anything. So the off-site drainage is going to have to work before they can start building the Old Guard Hotel.
And that's so important.
Oh, it's more than that. You're
Yeah,
right.
I don't think folks are gonna really realize
Yeah.
how much concern I know you have.
Oh. I'm, because I worry, that's my nature, I'm worried.
There's a lot of water.
So I want folks to know that, yes, I know about sports being held and practices being held, Fickett's Field, Roe Park. The contractor, there was a pre-construction meeting, the contractor's aware of all. Every day it's supposed to be buttoned up tight. I go over there all the time to look. And so we're on it. Now, I also need to add that all the off-site drainage project that's being done from Murns to Fickett's is totally being paid for by the Old Guard Hotel, including our engineer. That was the deal that this board worked out. Again, on top of it. So, again, I thank the board. Because that's us doing our due diligence. We should do this. There's no praise. We should do it, and we do it, and we did it. So I thank you guys. I know that I'm going to start with Mr. Howard. I know that he has something. He might have things to say, but I also know that he wants the chief to come up for a moment. Chief, you want to come up?
This is behalf of the center, and it says Certificate of Appreciation, Highland Falls Police Department, recognition of the generous gift to support the efforts of the center to deliver services and resources to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Brian?
Speaking of schools, I met with Sergeant Kirby. We're asking people to slow down. Schools are open now. There was a real issue up on Church and Muller. I spoke to the chief too. He's supportive. You got to stop the stop signs. We now have nursery school and kindergarten opening up. And Murph has said this time in, time out. Slow down. Slow down. It's school time now. You got a lot of little ones excited, walking on the sidewalk with their families. You need to slow down. I like the idea about night out. I thought it was great. Detective Bailey did a great job of organizing. The police were there, EMTs, ambulance, fire departments, all the volunteers that were there, various organizations, alcohol, drug from Orange County came up, a lot of health organizations. It was really a good program. Senior awards, excellent coverage by Mary Jane. And letter to the editor. I thank Bob Livesey and the staff at Little Richie's. Everyone there had a great time. In fact, I received a verbal compliment that we probably have a very, very active senior citizen group. So everybody enjoyed themselves. James Scrufus today was at the center, spoke to senior citizens. He was also at Andy's on August 20th. Spoke a lot about different topics that were of interest to the residents. If you read the paper, he also did a nice job on praising Senator Larkin, and he did it again verbally. It didn't matter what party he was in, he was truly a leader. Lots of hard work is taking place in the village on Main Street. I want to talk about what we do. Joe started a thing called pre-construction meetings. We meet with contractors, utility companies, we meet with Tard, who's our engineer. He helps us plan and execution of the projects. He also helps us with the bids. He knows exactly what's a realistic bid and what isn't with all projects going on. So he's really valuable. But we also have saved money, and I've asked the mayor to talk about that a little bit, how we've saved money with these pre-construction programs. Thank you.
Just two things. One, I know there's been, some complaints about Main Street. I know there's been a lot of good talk about Main Street, what's going on. But what's the right time and when's the wrong time? So it has to get done. It has to get done, and that's what's going on right now. Like any project, you just got to get in there, you got to do it, and that's it. And then everybody's going to look at this when it's all over and say, this looks beautiful. But that's the way it has to be. Just to chime in with Brian on the stop signs, I've been saying that since I've been on the town board, and Chief, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you run a stop sign, the police they can't be at each stop sign in the village, they can't do that. But if you run a stop sign and you hit somebody, and somebody knows that you ran that stop sign, you are in serious trouble. Especially if you're on your cell phone or you have alcohol in you. You gotta stop at these stop signs. I mean, it's just, Mr. Mayor, it's just too much.
It's too much. The speeding on side streets and children at play signs and yield signs and stop signs, we all know it. We all know it. That stop sign down here by the old Hollandville Savings, Walkill Valley Bank, you sit there, people just blow right through that stop sign. So what we did was, we asked the state for the largest stop sign they had. It's the largest one they made. Not only one, but when you pull up there, there's two. Not only that, there's red reflective tape that go down to each pole. Not only that, before the stop sign, there's a sign that says, stop sign ahead. And people go through it. I'm telling you, we've tried to get a light there. I was telling someone the other day, it's very hard to believe. The state wanted to know, you know this, Chief, how many deaths did you have there? None. Got to have 3. Imagine that. The state tells me I got to have 3 people die. Then we'll talk about a stoplight. That's a disgrace. That's criminal. Actually, that's criminal. You want 3 people to die. Who's going to be the 3? That's wrong. Sorry.
That's okay.
It's terrible.
Just,
Sorry.
the last thing I have is, so now we're after Labor Day, we have still some events going on in Orange County and everything. But this weekend on Saturday, there's a big event that's out in Montgomery. It's the Montgomery Day Parade. If you've never been there before, it's a great parade to go to. And then after the parade, you could watch Army beat Michigan during a football game, and then that's going to be another great event too. So, go Army. Jim?
Just a couple comments. One, to echo driving, without sounding too dramatic, God forbid you're going too fast and you hit a small child. So just keep that in mind while you're flying through the side streets. We're all maybe guilty of it. We're all not thinking about it. We're all rushing to a meeting. We're rushing to get kids to school on time. We're rushing to get to work. I get it. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. But just keep that in mind. You know, God forbid a kid gets hurt. Your life will probably not be the same. So I don't mean to sound dramatic, but I'm just trying to put things in perspective. Number 2, meeting with Chief Scott discussed some of our, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple months ago, we spoke to a company about tickets. About, you know, so we've exchanged a few emails, we've had a few conversations about looking at the fines. What are other communities doing? Maybe it's a good time to check the fines out and see if we're low, if we're high, if we're, you know, we need to be, you know, up them, and we'll bring that back to the board. Also, the numbers in the police department, as everybody knows, is pretty low. We had some folks leave to go to different departments. You know, there's been no negative reasons why people are moving on. People just move on. It's just like getting a different job somewhere else. So we met some nice candidates. I met one. The chief met some candidates via the list. So I think things will start being cultivated, and we'll see some new faces as we get down the road, and definitely new names on meeting lists. So that's going well, and we hired that dispatcher tonight, so that was good. And just you know, again, I just want to echo the comments. You know, about Bill Larkin, our former senator. As the mayor said, and the other trustees, you know, we're paving Main Street, we're paving a bunch of roads, we're doing West Street, we're doing sidewalks, the town's getting the garbage truck, they're also getting money to put up I guess what we consider a pole barn, or something to house trucks at the town. You know, even when I wasn't I wasn't a county legislator, and I wasn't on any board, it was about a little time gap there that, you know, my wife was really happy that I wasn't on any boards. But I still got a phone call from him when he was the senator, and he said, listen, Jim, I got some money, where can we put it in your community? And that, you know, that's just the type of guy he was. And just to put things in perspective, we have like 2,700 registered voters in this town. He didn't need to spend the time that he spent down here. If you're a politician, you live and die by your elections, right? So he didn't need to spend the time down here. He could have spent it in Newburgh, or New Windsor, or Cornwall, or any of these bigger towns where there's bigger numbers of people to vote, but he did it. He came down here and spent time here and got us the resources we need, and that to me is genuine. And so it's the same reason why local boards, you know, we're not getting rich up here. If you're doing a good job and you're a positive thinker and you're trying to do the right thing and work in the community, it's got to be genuine. And he was a genuine guy. So that's my comments for that.
Councilman, you have anything? Me? The only one in the room.
So, two things. I'm glad to hear you're sending Mr. Kress back to school. What's a shame is I took that same school actually for an A-border lessons along with Jack Sibley about 12 years ago, right at Orange County Community College. It's a shame they don't offer it anymore and he has to go that far. And the other thing is, I don't want to misquote numbers. At a town board meeting about 2 months ago, because of my time on impact aid, surcharge lawsuits are passionate to me, as well as tax-free properties and whatnot. The whole town right now, I believe, is assessed at about $522 million. When they did the reval, it was around $580 million. I'm not sure what's going on for that big drop, but I think you're seeing the residual effects of that.
You don't know what's going on with the local.
Why did it go from $580 million 10 years ago and drop down to $520 million?
Well, you know why.
I think the evaluation was not plausible when it was done.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session on specific individuals and personnel matters.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.